Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely massive, something that literally shapes the entire world we live in. We are talking about the world ocean. When you look at a globe, you see a whole lot of blue, right? Well, that blue isn't just a bunch of separate random puddles. It's actually one huge, continuous body of salt water. To put this into perspective, the world ocean covers an astonishing 71% of Earth's surface. That is well over two-thirds of our entire planet. And it doesn't just cover a huge area, it holds a mind-blowing amount of water. In fact, 97% of all the water on Earth is sitting right here in this one connected ocean. It's so big, it completely dwarfs all the land we actually live on. So how did the world ocean form? Let's take a quick journey back in time to see exactly how our planet got its incredible blue waters. Picture this. More than 4 billion years ago, a very young Earth was incredibly hot, and there was absolutely zero water. None. So where did it all come from? Well, first, volcanoes started releasing water vapor and gases to form our early atmosphere. Then, as the Earth finally began to cool down, that water vapor turned into liquid, and the heavy first rains began to fall. Imagine rain pouring down for thousands, maybe even millions of years. All that water eventually filled the lowest basins on Earth, creating the first ancient seas. And to make it sound even more like a sci-fi movie, extra water probably crashed down from space, hitchhiking here on comets and asteroids. Okay, so that explains where the water came from, but it brings up another really great question. If you've ever accidentally swallowed a mouthful of seawater at the beach, you know it tastes super different from rain or the water from your tap. Why is the ocean so salty? It all comes down to the number 35. You see, over millions of years, rivers have been flowing across the land, scraping minerals from rocks and washing them straight into the sea. When the sun heats the ocean, the water evaporates into the air, but it leaves all those salt minerals behind. So over time, the ocean just got saltier and saltier. Today, the average salinity is 35. That means you'll find about 35 grams of salt hidden inside every single liter of seawater. Now, depending on where you are on the map, you'll hear different names for the ocean. But here's the secret. Even though we have 5 named oceans just to make geography class a little easier, there are no actual walls between them. They're all perfectly connected to each other in one giant global system. Let's quickly meet the 5 members of this connected family. First up is the Pacific Ocean, which is the absolute largest and deepest of the bunch. Next is the Atlantic Ocean, coming in as the second largest. Then we've got the Indian Ocean, the third largest, which is famous for being really warm and salty. Down at the very bottom of the globe, the Southern Ocean completely hugs Antarctica. And finally, sitting all the way up at the top of the world is the Arctic Ocean, the smallest and definitely the coldest. So those are the big 5. But what about all the smaller areas of water? Let's zoom in on the map and look at the parts of the world ocean. First, we have a sea, which is just a part of the ocean that's partly surrounded by land or underwater ridges. Think of the Mediterranean Sea or the Bering Sea. Then you have a bay. A bay is basically a piece of an ocean or a sea that takes a deep bite right out of the coastline, like the Gulf of Mexico or Hudson Bay. And finally, a strait. Straits are these really cool, narrow bodies of water that act like bridges connecting 2 bigger seas or oceans together. The English Channel and the Strait of Gibraltar are super famous examples of this. It's really fun to see how all these pieces fit together. Think of it like a giant flowing puzzle. You start with the massive ocean, right? The biggest part. From there, it flows into a smaller sea. That sea might reach deep into the land to form a bay. And linking these different areas together are those narrow little straits. It's all one beautifully connected system. All right, so we know how big it is, how it formed, and how it all connects. But here is the most important question for us right now. Why should we care? Why is the world ocean so absolutely crucial to our daily lives? Well, it's literally Earth's life support system. Did you know the ocean produces about half of the oxygen you and I breathe? Yep, thanks to tiny little plants called phytoplankton. It also regulates our entire climate by moving heat around the globe. It's home to millions of crazy and beautiful plants and animals, gives us vital food and minerals, and provides sea routes that keep global trade moving. It even acts like a giant sponge, soaking up carbon dioxide to help slow down climate change. And of course, it's the main engine behind the water cycle that brings us rain. The world ocean isn't just some big empty space for fish to swim in. It's the reason we can live on this planet at all. So our final big takeaway for this explainer is simple. Protect the world ocean because it protects our planet. we've only explored a tiny fraction of what lives beneath those waves. So, what incredible, undiscovered mysteries do you think are waiting down there in the deep blue? And what will you do to help protect them? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.